Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for being here, hitting thumbs up, hitting subscribe. A quick thank you to the moderators who do an incredible job. And also thank you to Beasley, the hot redhead behind me. This is our version of AI back here, son, as she is showing off the Aspen 20. It is a climate bag. I do not work for these folks. I actually own 4 of these. This is not mine, and I tell you how I know it's not mine. Because it's packed neatly. Mine looks more like a bowling ball. But if you're interested in that, it'll be pinned down the video, down underneath the video as the top comment and in the live chat. So expect maybe, I don't know yet, but maybe another video to drop tomorrow on Saturday. I know that's unusual here at Prepper Nation. I usually don't post anything on the weekends, but I got some thoughts on everything that's happening with Donald Trump. I would rather get into it in a separate video, though. I've been keeping an eye on it. I think I understand what's going on with all that. This morning, we're talking about something just as important. So we're talking about the inevitability of a draft here in the United States of America, military draft. Okay, so yesterday, Redacted, they put out a podcast and they said, the U.S. is considering a military draft. And I said, oh, I'm tuning in on this one. Sometimes I watch, sometimes I'm a little too busy. I say, I'm tuning in. And this is actually coming from military.com is what they're referencing in the podcast. And I will link that down below the video as well, okay, where it says Intel. So it's being pitched to Congress as a cost saver. So the way things are set up now, when you are recruiting somebody brand new into the armed forces, it costs around $15,000 to get that person into the armed forces, to convince them to come and all of this stuff, to go through the motions. Then once they're there, it takes another $50,000 or so to get them battle ready on average. And they're saying it's costing the government a ton of money. It would be cheaper if we just instituted a draft. We could cut out so many $15,000 at a time. I think they said the government would save a few billion every year just by forcing people to do it. And they go on in this podcast yesterday on Redacted to say, what are we fighting for exactly? And I thought that was an excellent, excellent question. What are we fighting for? People that are being sent to, even now, National Guardsmen and women that are being sent to Poland to prepare for the possibility of war versus Russia in Europe. What exactly are they fighting for? Are they fighting for the freedom of Ukraine? Are they fighting to protect Zelensky? Are they fighting because we don't like Russia? Why are we in Europe in the first place? Why are we getting ready to fight? And again, I thought that was an excellent question because we were just talking yesterday about World War III. Spoiler alert, probably 4 hours after we dropped that video yesterday morning, WeOn, which is the same channel I was telling you about out of India, they ran a segment where they pretty much are saying it's inevitable. They were saying the same thing we were, but we beat them by 4 hours or so, son. I don't know how the time difference is and stuff with India without looking, though. But there's only one thing missing for the United States when it comes to World War III, and that's boots on the ground. And we don't have enough boots on the ground. So not only is a draft possible, but if we fight World War III, I think it's extremely likely that we are going to see some sort of draft instituted because we already know about the crazy enlistment shortfalls. I believe this year they're projecting every single branch except for the U.S. Marines. They're going to have significant shortfalls, 20, 25, 30% below the expected number. People just aren't interested. The Marines, I think they were the only one that said, hey, we're going to make our goal, but it's going to be a crazy struggle just to get there. So it is what it is, but you can't fight a war without soldiers. Not a world war, at least. You can fight, conflicts and stuff with technology. Not to get off on a tangent here, but I think that's part of America's problem. We fought so many conflicts indirectly and we rely so heavily on technology that we've gotten used to this idea of we don't need to put many boots on the ground. And that's not how it's going to play out for World War III, I can promise you. So again, the military.com article that I will link down below is called "We Need a Limited Military Draft." And this is the idea that's being pitched to Congress. And there are a handful of congressmen and women that are supportive of this. Not enough to make it happen just yet, but this is the idea. The United States would recruit for the first 11 months of the fiscal year like normal. Vans showing up at your local fairs. You've got your enlistment offices and malls and things. And then the 12th month of every year, if there's a recruitment shortfall, if we're projected to be 30,000 behind in the U.S. Army, just as an example, then they would use the selective service and draft 30,000 people, citizens here into the U.S. Army. And I think what's going on is the endless wars model that we were just talking about this week. It's beginning to break down. It's not working the same way it was in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. And it's crazy because technically, to hear it told by our government, we're at a time of peace here in the United States. And I can't remember the draft ever being instituted during a time of peace. It always happens during a time of war. So I think they're lying about that as well. But as I said before, you ain't winning a world war with drones. You're not just going to be able to use drones and win a world war. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to get dirty. You're going to have to put lots of boots on the ground. And that's the problem. I think Russia's figured this much out. They're looking at the United States and they're saying, and its allies, and they're saying, the United States and Germany and France, they really don't want to get down and dirty and fight a conventional world war again. They're not set up for it. And I think Russia is playing to that, using that to their advantage. Redacted made an excellent point. They say, if there's a draft, anytime there's a draft, the wealthy, they get out of it. They're able to hire people, lawyers, representation, to wiggle their way out of it. And it's actually the poor people and your middle class people that suffer, that have to watch their kids and themselves go off to die at a time of war. And they go on to ask this question, and it's excellent. What is the selling point exactly? If you're pitching to a young person, 17, 18 years old, they're ramping up to graduate high school. Let's say a recruiter is at high school. What are you actually offering them in order to join the armed forces? Because it used to be that this was a very prestigious line of work. That's how I've always viewed it up until very recently. Especially if you were going in as a career soldier, to me, that was honor and that was prestige. That's one of the greatest things as an American citizen you could do, is you could go, you can serve. Okay. But what is the selling point in 2023? Past the middle of 2023. Why would anybody that is 18 years old now sign up for military service? Seriously, what kind of benefits are they offering? A lot of the folks that are in the military, that especially families, they're having trouble eating. They have to hit food banks and things. For those that didn't know, it's crazy. They're not paying soldiers enough money to begin with. So why? I mean, what can you possibly pitch somebody? Hey, you're going to go help elites continue the endless war machine? Is that what you're going to do? We need you to sign up and go fight so you can continue to enrich companies like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon so they can keep bankrolling money. We need you to sign up. Don't you want to make Joe Biden proud? What a selling point that is, right? So here's the deal, folks. It's time to tell the truth here in the United States. We're not going to right this ship unless we tell the truth about where we're at as the United States. Maybe too late anyway. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe too late to right this ship. You know, the writing may be on the wall, but if there's any hope of righting the ship, I should say, we need to start telling the truth about what's going on. All right. We don't have enough police officers here in the United States because you defunded the police. Not you that are watching this. I'm talking about liberal mayors of bigger cities. You defunded the police. That's why you don't have enough cops. That's why your cities are little rat holes right now. It's the truth. Why aren't we talking about it? We don't have enough troops like we're talking about this morning because you fear nationalism. Again, not you, but I'm saying the average Joe and Jane out here, they fear the idea of nationalism, the idea of love of country. You say nationalism, immediately somebody paints it bad. What's wrong with it exactly? I'm not saying extreme nationalism. I'm saying love of country. You know, don't you want to help veterans? Don't you want to help homeless citizens before you want to help people that sneak into this country illegally? If you do, you're already a nationalist. You may not know that, but congratulate yourself. You're trying to take care of people at home first. Nothing wrong with that. We don't have money because world banks have stolen it. Wealth, I'm saying, actual wealth. You know, they can print off as much fiat as they want and throw numbers on a screen, but we don't have the wealth that we once had as a country because world banks have stolen it like the Monopoly man, son. We don't have actual borders in this country. And to demand that we have actual borders makes you a racist in 2023 somehow. I still haven't figured that one out. We have grown-up kids living fake lives. I'm not trying to pick on just the 20-somethings, okay, but they're really bad about it. The cell phone's out all the time. We had this conversation on Patreon. We're heading to Web3. I'm not going to get off on that. It's a huge topic, but I was telling the folks on Patreon, I'm not interested in wearing a VR headset and buying fake real estate and using NFTs and all this bull crap. I'm not going to do it. When Web 3.0 hits, I'm not interested, right? But most people will be because they're living in a fantasy land. They're wearing Cookie Monster pajamas around at age 28. They have zero ambition in life. What in God's name makes you think these people are going to sign up for U.S. military service? This is a self-inflicted wound. We've become weak here in the United States is the point I'm trying to make. Until this country refocuses on God, family, and patriotism, we cannot right this ship. And if you disagree with that, I would love to hear it. I respect all comments, but I would love to hear the flip side of that argument. Because it seems like if we focus on God, if we focus on the reason this, our founding documents were literally created around the concept of Christianity. They were. That's not even an argument. And we focus on family, a mother, a father, children, everybody playing a role, everybody being important. There are too many fatherless kids out here and parentless kids in many cases. It's true. And until we focus on patriotism and getting away from the wokeness and getting back to loving our country, nothing's going to change here in the United States. It's just going to continue to get worse and worse. And until all that stuff happens, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be fighting in Europe. My kids, they are not going to be fighting in Europe to bail Zelensky out or to enrich companies full of billionaires. Not going to do it. Not going to sacrifice my kids for it. It is what it is. And you can think of me what you will, but let these millionaires fight their own wars for a change. These warmongers, like Lindsey Graham, for example, Nikki Haley, the ones that the anchors on MSNBC. What a show that is. The ones that are pushing for war, we need to go to war now. We need boots on the ground now. We'll strap on some boots, lace them up, and get to it, son, because I have zero interest. As the war in Europe intensifies, and it's going to, we just talked about it yesterday, there will eventually be a draft, a military draft here in the United States. There has to be. The numbers do not make sense for a world war. We've ramped up production on pretty much everything else that we need for war. We have not ramped up the numbers in our military, and I promise you that's coming. Now, I don't know what kind of circus rules will be attached. They will try and be green about it. They will try and be as unoffensive and socially acceptable as possible. Genders will come into play. Beliefs will come into play. Looks, race, it's all going to come into play in the draft. And the only guarantee I can give you is that Patriots will be the first ones that are forced to toe the line because they want us gone anyway. Why not? It's a double whammy. But again, I'm not interested. They can lock me up. They can put me in a jail cell and bury the key. I really don't care. But as for right now, I would rather prepare for the aftermath that is going to follow this war. This war is going to be nasty. It's already nasty for a few countries. More countries are going to get involved. It's going to be a terrible, terrible time in human history. You can survive it by prepping for the things that are typically short during a wartime situation, but you should also be prepping to live in the aftermath of it, because who knows what's going to be left standing when this war is over, folks. Again, maybe a video tomorrow on everything Donald Trump, the 411, the info, son. I guess people still use 411. I don't know, on Donald Trump, President Trump. But until next time, y'all take care. God bless.